Herbivore. Herbivore.
What up? How we doing, everyone? Thanks for joining. I'm naked today. Wind Waker's in the hizzy. Looks like I won the internet today. Damn straight. Aslan, top of the munch. Good old Robert Pacino. Nellie Williams. Good old Callum. Good evening, all. Hench, how is your son getting on? I don't really know, other than that he's bloody busy. He's blinking busy. I don't know how he's doing with the plant-based thing. Yeah, just not been able to get together with him for a little while. So, yeah, I don't really know. It's a while. I mean, I'm often the same way. People message me and then I'm a while getting back. Like, you know, just busy, and then you kind of forget. And so we've kind of been a bit on different... I don't know, just sort of missing each other a little bit, and we haven't had a good chat for a bit. So, yeah, hopefully he's not so busy soon, and we can see how he's getting on. Vegan, guys, check her out. She's Amazeballs on the YouTubes. Subscribe to her channel. And, yeah, Ellie, we need to do our live stream, don't we? I'm all better now. So, yeah, whenever you're ready, let's do a blink and stream with that. Cat, hello. As a woman who likes to powerlift, not focused on weight loss, rather weight gain. Any female vegan powerlifters, YouTubers? The one that springs to mind, and she's not that active, is Sophia Ellis. She is like a two-time, I think, British and Commonwealth champion. Very good. She's a lot more active on Instagram. Sophia Strength. That's all I can really think of. Graceful Goombas. This is off topic, but I still can't figure out if bagels are vegan. I don't think that is off topic, as this is a vegan discussion channel. I would look on the wrappers of whichever brand of bagels. I'm sure some are and some aren't. I think the things to watch out for would be eggs, milk, palm oil, if you're concerned about habitat loss and if you're concerned about your health. So I would go on a case-by-case basis by reading the label. Dick Sensei. Is that Michael, what's his name? The Thunder Mifflin boy? You know what I'm trying to say. Parkour! Sensei is literally Japanese for he who has been before. So you are the dick who has been before. That's very funny, Callum. Vegan Mooncat, subscribe to him. He's great. General Mooncat. How you doing, brother? Fazikio is in the house. Emmanuel Vicky Scorer. Good evening. I don't know. And Fazikio, I think you two may be new in the chat. Have you chatted before? If not, if you want to let us know where you are, how's the vegan scene there? How are you getting on? Yeah, introduce yourselves. Antonio. Hola. My good friend Benny Green. What was that documentary you saw the other day where you said everyone came closer in the circle? That was Gabor Mate, trauma. Gem?
Yeah.
What is that Gabor Mate documentary? Trauma, the teacher? Yeah, it's not available anymore, is it? No, I know that. But what was the title of it?
Trauma Wisdom? Or?
Wisdom of Trauma?
Yeah, that's it.
Wisdom of Trauma. Yeah, so that was only available for a short time. What's the deal with that? Like, it just comes online every now and again?
Caroline or someone said it's the second time it's been available.
Where do you find out about it?
Maybe you follow his platform? Or...
Yeah, I would follow Gabor Mate, Gabormate. 2 words, Gabor Mate. Yeah, or you just really want to check out some of his work in general. He is blinking amazing. Cherie is in the hizzy. Crystal, how are you doing? Good to see you. Crystal Nelson, how much other nutrition products? How much other nutrition do products lose? Were you trying to say? So along with fats, I guess you'll be losing. Well, I don't really know. I mean, maybe like the fat-soluble nutrients, are they stored in the fats there? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I would expect things like the carotenoids, if there's any in there in the first place. Vitamin E, vitamin K, if there's in there. I'm not entirely sure. And to be honest, it's not something that I seek to generally eat, so that's probably why I don't really know. Emmanuel, do you know other languages? I know quite a few words in Japanese, but they're mostly words like to describe ways of really hurting someone from my martial arts background. Good old Kane, I know you. Oh, and we're in your avatar shot there. Very cool. What's the impact of palm oil on our health? It kills us. If we think like meat fats are bad, well, palm oil can be worse than. Well, I think it is worse than like the fat found in meat. It's not as bad as butter, but it's got those long and very long chain triglycerides that cause heart disease, that raise your risk for Alzheimer's, stroke. You know, yeah, very horrible, very, very horrible. I wouldn't eat that if I just wouldn't eat it. Paddy Smith, hello. I'm new to your channel after wanting to become a healthier vegan. The one thing I'm still sure about is where to get iodine and if a supplement is necessary / safe. Thanks. Thank you, Paddy, and welcome to the channel. Number one, if you happen to have a thyroid disease, you should use a supplement. We're looking for 150 micrograms per day. Other than that, though, I like to get mine from seaweed. So seaweed is about the only really reliable source of iodine in the sort of plant kingdom. The trouble for thyroid sufferers is they need to really keep a steady level of iodine. So as not to mess with their meds or whatever, they have to have those in balance. But seaweed can vary 6-fold in the amount of iodine. So that's why that. But, you know, for the masses, I personally prefer to eat seaweed because it's a whole food. It's going to have a load of other nutrition with it and fibre. You know, we say that the propensity for the best health is predicated on the variety of different gut bacteria, the Prevotella strains that eat fibre, that live in our gut. And of course, if we're only eating vegetables off the land, well, most vegetables actually live in the sea. They mostly grow in the sea. The sea's a lot bigger than the land is. And so we're really limiting ourselves, you know, mostly unnecessarily, unless you have a thyroid issue. So a teaspoon of dulse or orame flakes, 1 1/8 of a teaspoon of wakame, 1/16 of a teaspoon of colt powder, a couple of sheets of nori. That's your 150 micrograms at minimum RDA. So, yeah, no, it's not one to mess with. Make sure you're getting that. Well, of course, all minerals are essential. But yeah, supplements fine. What I wouldn't do is rely on table salt. Like most countries, not mine, but most countries mandate iodine in table salt. But sodium is one of the worst things for like health. You know, you can get away with a very small amount, but you're better off probably, most people, not adding it to your food, really. Or if you do, probably not enough to get adequate iodine. Physique, I used to hang out with your streams like as humanoid terrestrial, right? I know who you are now. Been working at the sanctuary, so I've been missing out from South Africa vegan scene, growing slowly but surely. been working in a sanctuary. Oh, very cool. And you're in South Africa, and the vegan scene is on the grow there. Fantastic. That's really good news. Yeah, I remember you, humanoid terrestrial. Mooncat, I sent you a message. Some guy called the Liver King, who was eating organs, bone, testicles, whatever our ancestors' diet. He's a bodybuilder. Oh God. Yeah, I'll have a look. That last tip off was very good, so I better have a look. Rebel Vegan in the hizzy. That's Priya, isn't it? Emmanuel, have you seen Brian Shaw's new video about his diet? No, I suppose I should give that a look as well, perhaps. Let's have a little look. Oh, I've got the hick-me-ups. Oh, so that only came out 20 minutes ago. Ricky, any advice for people struggling with substance abuse? Much love. Well, number one, like, get some counselling. Like, you know, you really need to be working with someone, I believe, an expert. I'm certainly no expert, but I've seen a couple of things to say, really. Number one, I'm a big fan of Joe Dispenza's work. I would recommend reading the book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and then doing the accompanying meditation. Both the audiobook and the meditation is available on YouTube. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. If you're not aware of Joe Dispenza, probably watch an interview where he's on London Real or somewhere to get a feel for him. But I personally have had some great benefits from him, not in terms of addiction, but in terms of breaking old patterns that weren't serving me anymore. And I think it could help addiction in a similar way. Well, I mean, this is a bit... I don't really like to sort of talk about this because I have to do all these bloody caveats. But there's 40 institutes now around the world where they are treating addiction with, and this will sound a bit counterintuitive, but psychedelic, like plant medicines. Of course, there's a lot of provisos. You need to be over age 25, not have red-green colour blindness, not be prone to schizophrenia, or already have a strong, have that kind of in your family, like in family history. There's a lot of provisos, whys and wherefores, and also, you know, these people, they're doing it in like a proper medical setting. So they've got a couple of counsellors on hand. And they're basically working for it, but it has a high success rate. But I think it's not something to, you can have a really horrible time of it potentially. So, yeah, what to say? I'm personally a big fan, but like, do you mean, who am I? Like, do your research, you do you. But if you consider, like, if you did the research and you think you are the sort of person who could potentially go that route, like, get some help with it, I would say. Get some help with it so that you do it properly. There's all this setting malarkey. Again, I don't want to go too deep into it right now because, again, who am I? But just really, really, really look into it before you'd ever consider doing it. But, that's been used now for treatment-resistant depression, PTSD, as I say, addictions, with a pretty good success rate, supposedly. I mean, so good that the US government has just awarded, I think it's Johns Hopkins University, or sort of hospital, $90 million more to carry on their research. So, yeah, that's a couple of things I'd say. And one other thing I would really say is, from what I've seen, oftentimes with addiction, before people really often have much of a chance of recovering, the pain of remaining the same has to become greater than the pain of changing. So literally, like, has actually become easier to do something about it than to keep using that crux. Obviously, this, like, well, I don't know what it is, if it's past trauma or something that people are trying to self-medicate against. Oftentimes things have to get so bad, but, you know, I hope that people can try and address it before that time. To seek help, professional help, counselling, maybe this new, like, treatment program. But again, that comes with counselling as well. I hope some of that helps. You know, that's hard. Like, it happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. It's just the human condition that, and well, it's just life. It's just animals in general. The three like core rules: seek pleasure, avoid pain, expend the least energy doing so. You know, what's easier than getting off your tits to forget your troubles? You know, but it's not. You know, it's not a cure, is it? You know, and then we get more troubles. So my heart goes out to people, it really does, and anyone can be in that position. Kane, I had the funniest denialist, I thought I said dentalist, denialist response to veganism the other day. So I don't talk about veganism and saving animals when we don't do fuck all to stop paedophiles. Well, number one, how do you stop paedophiles? By just talking about it. Number two, while those people are doing nothing to help to stop paedophiles or help animals, and they're actively eating animals, and they're wasting their time telling me what to do, while they're doing that, I'm actually funding Project Child Safe, a group of like kind of mercenaries really that go and save children from the sex slavery industry at gunpoint, whilst promoting kindness to animals and whilst not funding animal abuse. So there's 3 ways in which I'm actually actively doing shit while they're doing nothing. So they should really shut their mouths. That's probably what I'd say to them. Rebel Vegan, what are your thoughts on spirulina? So the blue-green algae, it's got a lot of good nutrition in it. Unfortunately, supposedly, most times it's quite contaminated. That's according to nutritionfacts.org. I think there is some kind of a neurotoxin in there as well. I believe Nutrition Facts have reported on that too. In fact, I know they have. I think there was one other thing. No, it's not coming to me. But Dr. Gregor's perspective is if you want to add in an algae, it seems like chlorella may be far safer and very similar like nutrient profile. Paddy Smith, thank you for the useful video on how to cook, avoid cooking with oil. Very useful, thank you. I'm pleased to hear that. Slack to Vegan, hey Henchy, how's this handstand training going? Just as well as ever. Not at all. Aerial perspective, Eveline Hench. Thanks for your take on thyroid. Also got hypothyroidism, so overactive. Don't take iodine. We'll do that as I'm quite fatigued. If you're hyper, you've obviously got adequate iodine, I would have thought, or because thyroid hormones are actually made with iodine. So I imagine if you didn't have enough, you would be hypo. Unless you have you got Hashimoto's where you can go like over and under? You're saying you're quite fatigued, but if it's hypo, I don't think that wouldn't be the reason why. I wouldn't have thought. Gemma recently, I'll tell you what you might like to try is adding in black cumin seed, ground black cumin seeds. Recently, Gemma added that in. And she was taking both T3 and T4. So T3 is the active thyroid hormone. T4 is the storage version of said hormone. And she's had to take out all their T3 because the black cumin seed powder is actually doing the same job somehow. So, yeah, you might like to try adding that in. work with your doctor, you may need to lower your dose down. And in fact, so she was actually tired, but it was because she was then on too much meds. Should bring them down. Which sounds weird when you're hyper, but that's how it worked out for her. Crystal, Nori appears to have cleared up most of my stubborn acne. Feel way better too. Might have been deficient. Yeah, very possibly. I mean, correlation doesn't prove causation, but yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Chronometer should really auto add it because they really add iodized. Yeah, they don't really track iodine very well, do they, on chronometer? Dale, got some shiitake mushrooms the other day, dried, never had them before. Oh my god, put in water, and it'd be so amazing. Oh, gorgeous. I used to think that, and then I was eating raw shiitake by the handful every day, and then one day I tried to eat them, and I was nearly sick, and I just can't eat them anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but my body got like sick of them. I mean, I've not tried them again in years, so maybe I'll be all right now. Train seitan next. That's very good, particularly if you're doing any kind of bodybuilding. Grumpy Vegan Grandad, check him out on the tubes. First live I've caught in a while. Your new book looks like it will be amazing for people with busy lives like me. Yeah, it really, really would. I should probably send it out to a couple of YouTubers, really. So, yeah, I may give me an email, Grumpy, if you want a copy, and I'll sort that out for you. Laban. Oh, we're talking about mushrooms. Hungry Greek Mexican in the hizzy. Happy Columbus Day to you too. Stacey Langley. Oh, Columbus Day. Don't some people say like that's like celebrating Hitler Day or something because of all the poor American Indians, as we labelled them for some reason because we were idiots and thought we'd found India. Or the genocide. Is that something? I don't know. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here. Rebel Vegan. Oh, Stacey Langley. Hello to you, General Langley. How you doing? Rebel Vegan. Any super healthy recipes for king oyster mushrooms? Not something I've really eaten. So no, I don't have any. Does anyone else? Kane, I was talking to my work colleague about microdosing. We got into talking about lion's mane. Have you used it or no? What about it? Yeah, it's sort of well, like any of the functional mushrooms. Well, any mushrooms in general, I would expect. I think the functional mushrooms have more of it, though. Possibly, I might be wrong. The beta-glucans, like that special type of fibre, is really good for the immune system. But the specific thing about lion's mane is that they look like a brain and they benefit brain functions. So some people will use psilocybin mushrooms for like changing neural pathways, like undoing past stuff, trying to remyelinate and just unlearn these negative, unhelpful thought patterns. So they rewire, but the lion's mane helps the myelination. It helps to kind of cement it in. So some people actually stack those together. But yeah, meant to be, and supposedly there's a lot of data to back them up. Very, very good for brain function. Area perspective, hypothyroidism is an underactive. No, that's over. Hypothyroidism is under. That's what I have. Might have Hashimoto's, got to get that diagnosed. Yeah, Gemma had it, and she was pretty sure she had it, but it took like 2 or 3 times going there to get the test to actually catch the antibodies at the right level. So in case people don't know, it's an autoimmune thyroid disease. So if you're hypo, it may well be that you've not got enough thyroid hormone or enough iodine to make your thyroid hormones. Priya brought some mulotti beans in the pods from local market. They look so pretty with pink patterns. Yeah, they're great, aren't they? The mushroom theme going on, there sure is. Dotty Dot, Private Dot. You seem to be a new channel member, unless you're a previous one changing your name. How are you doing? Thanks for your support. Tell us where in the world are you? How are you doing? How's the vegan scene? And thank you for your kind support. That means a lot. Hi, Hench. Do you have any recommendations for lazy vegans who struggle with motivation? I'm a couch potato but want to get healthier. I have no idea what to start with exercise. My activity level is 0. Yeah, that's hard sometimes. Are you lazy because your nutrition is poor? So good nutrition. For me, I've always been a self-starter and I just wanted to look, and feel good, feel like I can protect myself. So, I did bodybuilding and martial arts. But, I found it hard. But the idea of getting my head stoved in, like, on the street, like, the pain of that was worse than the pain of changing and actually getting my ass to the gym and doing something about it. And I quickly found, I was so unfit. But the fact that, I noticed I kept going. I suddenly got fitter and fitter and fitter. And then I eventually fell in love with it. But after a lot of years, I did start to get bored. But then someone said to me one day, "Oh, you look like a Hench Herbivore." And number one, I thought that sounds cool. I'll nick that for my business. But number two, I thought, yeah, I can be a like a good advertisement. I can be a great advocate for veganism, like a good advertisement. And hopefully I can save a lot more animals than I ever ate. And so I actually am more in love with bodybuilding now than I was back in the day when it was like a sort of ego thing. And now it's more for altruism. And I find I can stick to my goals better because I'm not going out of my ego and in a rush to put mass on. So I end up getting fat in a rush to get cut, out of insecurity. And then so I lose a load of muscle with it. I just do it right now. So a lot of champions and things, like they will say, like, it's not mostly like they're doing it for a higher purpose, whether it be their idea of what God is, or they're thinking of their family who have really had to sacrifice for all their training all hours, and or for me, veganism. When it gets hard, I just imagine animals in the slaughterhouse queuing up, shaking, like soiling themselves in total like mortal fear, seeing their friends and family being systematically executed in front of their eyes, knowing that I was responsible for thousands of instances of that. And I think, bloody hell, I'm a bit tired, this is hurting, but I can do 3 more reps. This is nothing compared to what they're going through. So that's good. My good friend Vegan Mooncat, who's in the chat, he's recently decided to double down on a kind of fat loss program, and he's making videos, posting his results online, sharing, and again, he's wanting to be an advocate for the animals. So it's really helping him to be, accountable. He's been accountable. He's posting his results. Everyone's looking. He said what he's doing. He said he's doing it for animals. So, I'm doing this for the animals. In the back of my mind, if I F up, if I get lazy, let the animals down. And obviously I didn't care about them, and I don't care that I paid people to stab them in the neck. Well, that's not happening. So there's that. I think another thing is to hire a coach or get a training partner. So it's not just you. You've got someone else who's relying on you. Or, I got to the stage where I enjoyed martial arts. I was very fit. I was enjoying doing that. Then I got an injury. Then I was doing bodybuilding and I got really quite big. And then I got back into some martial arts, but I was so heavy, I found the martial arts hard work. So what I did is I hired like champion boxers, champion MMA fighters, like top coaches. And, you know, when you're working on the pads with them and just sparring or whatever, doing technique, you just don't feel like you can put in a bad performance because they're, you know, you're looking up to him. You know, you don't want to let them down. And, yeah, you push that a bit harder. So maybe a coach might be good. Anyway, I hope that helps. I'll just have a drink. Oh, by the way, guys, we've got our cover. We've got the artwork for our new Speedy Vegan cookbook. How can I show you that? Where is it? Downloads, pictures. Got it somewhere, but I can't remember where it is. Maybe it's in an email. Oh yeah, there's the Liver King. Archived. No, I can't find it. Anyway, don't worry about it. Oh, I know where it is. It's on our website. henchherbivore.com. Give us your money. Don't you laugh. Shop ebooks.
You silly.
Right. Full screen capture. There he is. What do you reckon of that? Speedy Vegan. With a big old sanger. All the recipes in our new book are 15 minutes or less for the prep work. And then he's got like about 5 days worth of dishes. Here's some of the dishes. So this is it's available on pre-order currently for 10% off. Be out like early next month. Should be, but yeah, just $8.99 at the minute instead of $9.99 if you want to pre-order that. /givers, yeah. Right, what are we doing? Here we be. Bjorn, my lovely Viking friend, kindly donated 33 NOx. How's it going? I'm doing very well. How are you, my friend? Thank you so much for your kindness. Mooncat, my appetite is reduced again this week since being back on the whole food, so I reduced it by another 400 to 500 as we discussed in our last chat. See how it goes. Very good. Very good. You should do fine. Do just keep an eye in case you start to get like dizzy, and try not to you know, once you start to really trim down in calories, try to be quite regimented with your meal timings and not go too long, because you can go super dizzy. You can get so hungry and then be tempted to go off piste. That's the only danger. But, you know, because you can probably get away with about 3 pounds loss, I would have thought that you ought to be fine. So, yeah, good luck. That's exciting. You're doing bloody well anyway, so... You know, any more is just a crazy bonus, in fairness. Hats off to you. Nelly, my mum was diagnosed with underactive thyroid. She's put on medication. Yep. Probably thyroxine, which is artificial T4. Is there any natural things you can eat to help instead of taking pills? Yeah. Black cumin powder. What do we think is half to
1 teaspoon a day.
On an empty stomach, does it have to be?
That's what they said in the video, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing anyway.
Half to 1 teaspoon of black cinnamon powder on an empty stomach. Not cinnamon, cumin. Black cumin powder. Nigella sativa.
Yeah.
Yeah. On an empty stomach. She should find that she can back off at least a little bit. And yeah, if it's caused by an iodine deficiency, you would hope that people would check for this, but I don't hold out a lot of hope for the medical profession at large, to be honest.
I said, what can I do diet-wise? Is there anything
Yeah.
I need to do? Like,
Nothing.
No, it's nothing. No, they never said to take iodine or anything to me, doctors, you know.
So they don't test your iodine level. No. Mental. Stacey, my friend has psoriasis and she's cut down on dairy. Her skin has cleared up. So well under 3 months. So I'm hoping if it's coming to place soon. She's on her way. Yeah, if she's cut right down or cut out, you know, show her dairy is scary if you can. Callum back consistently at the gym for the past 3 weeks, pushing 325 on the leg press, which is more than I've ever pushed eating meat. Nice. Aerial perspective. So you've got hypo, you got prescribed thyroxine, you got tired of it, like you didn't want to take medicine anymore. Feels like I'm lacking something. If you're saying you took it out, then you're lacking T4. Low thyroid function affects every system of your body pretty much. So yeah, you're not going to feel great. I wouldn't recommend it. Well, put in some of the black cumin seed powder. At least. Cat for animals, low iron, best foods. I'm anemic at this time, but trying to recover. Greens, really. Greens, kale. Let's have a little look. Boom. So I did like a nutrition plan for someone a while back. A female on a little cut. So this is a lowish amount of calories. But pretty much all whole foods apart from some soy milk. Now, I managed to get this lady 29 milligrams of iron, which is 366% of your RDA. So there's no reason to be anemic on a vegan diet. You just need to eat real food. So on this particular nutrition plan, this is 1 day of eating. I was getting 67% of her RDA from iron, just from 2/3 of a can of lentils. 1 can of tomatoes was 65% of her RDA. So that's like one and a bit, 1.25 times already. Oats, that would be a small amount of oats, 35% of the RDA. Spinach, 34%. 2/3 of a can of kidney beans, 30%. Quinoa, probably, I don't know, about 60 grams or so. 26%. Sweet potato, I think that would be about 160 grams of sweet potato, 24% of the RDA. Kale would have been 100 grams, 20% of the RDA. And mushrooms, even berries have got a good amount. So as you can see, it's really legumes, tomatoes, grains, leaves particularly, sweet potato. Yeah. You would have to eat a pretty rubbish diet to not have adequate iron. You do need vitamin C to aid absorbency, but if you're eating like leafy greens, like they come with vitamin C in them. So that really shouldn't be an issue on a healthy, predominantly whole foods, or preferably completely whole foods, plant-based diet. There's very few nutrients of concern if you're eating enough calories and you're eating all whole foods. If you're eating much in the way of junk food, good luck. That's what I would say to people. It becomes very hard, particularly if you're on low calories. What's the other thing with iron? Don't have tannins at the same time. So you don't want to, you don't want to be drinking like tea. I think that's like an issue, like around the time of your meal. So you want to sort of stagger those. Frodo, what do you think about Chris Bumstead? Not a lot. He looks amazing. I don't really know anything about him other than that. Mexican dad raised since 2, found out I have half as years younger. Mum's parents are alive. I don't think that message was for me, was it? Crystal, I don't know if I had low TSH, are you trying to say? And I think I may have been deficient because of the changes I got. Annoying caused that. Oh, thyroid hormone, are you trying to say? So low T4 probably would have been the thing to say there. Interesting. The anime rapper, people like PewDiePie say they only eat animals they'd be willing to kill. What a hero. Do you think it's more moral than people who eat animals that they'd never kill? No, I think anyone who would happily kill an animal or pay others to kill an animal and not care about the animal is a wanker, quite honestly. Sorry to say that. I look at it from the animal's perspective. Like, the animal doesn't want to die. Like, do they care if someone pays someone to kill them or the person kills them? What difference does it make to the victim? None. Anyone who thinks it's okay to bully others, to victimize others, you know, that's a sure sign that they are an oppressor and they are involved in that. They either enjoy doing it themselves, you know, and, you know, they're eating their dead bodies in the case of animals, or they profit from the killing of animals. And, yeah, oppressors seldom find anything wrong in what they do. But what I will say is swap places with your victims. I guarantee instant enlightenment. And, like, do the animals give a shit if you're paying someone else to kill them or you're killing them? No. We need to think of the victim more. Nice, Benny. Nice. It's always good to be grateful for where we're at and to remember, like, yeah, that's huge. The Wood Smoky is in the hizzy. I think I remember you being around before, do I? How's it going? Kane, I saw a post on Insta the other day. It was miles of confined pens full of cows. Oh, was it the old veal crates where the baby where the cows go in for a couple of days before they're killed? Yes, that question. That would be that'll be calves that are destined to be shot in the head. The reason they're in tiny crates like that is so that they can't move around, and so their flesh can't become like more tough. So it's really soft, and so a-holes can eat their dead bodies and not have to chew too much because they're a bunch of slack-jawed simpletons. Thanks, Cherie. And thank you, Hungry Rick Mexican and the Aerial Perspective. I'm new here. Okay, living in the UK. Whereabouts? I'm in Norwich. I struggle with addiction to vegan junk food. Unfortunately, I'm actually eating too. I thought of getting a personal trainer, but that seems to be quite expensive. It can be expensive. You know, what I would say, though, is if you stop eating junk food and just buy sacks of like, say, lentils, like whole grain pasta, brown rice, I bet you could afford a trainer if you've done that. It's all about, what's the phrase? Like, people often say, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. And I like to say, mostly what people are really saying is it's not a priority. You know, if we can spend like, you know, so much money on just coffees like at Starbucks and like a little bit of crappy food that's horrible and well expensive, and I don't know, other vices we have, buying like video games, you know, just, not everyone is rich enough to afford a trainer. No, you're quite right. But I think oftentimes what people really mean to say, though, when they say, I haven't got time, I haven't got money, I haven't got this, and I say, it's not a priority. Like, you know, take time, for example. you can get an amazing workout in like 4 minutes if you really do some nasty balls to the wall HIIT training. Most people don't want to do it because, like, you know, you're pretty much guaranteed to throw up in the beginning, and it's just so painful. You know, I defy anyone not to have 4 minutes. But yeah. So yeah, but I hear you. I mean, it's not a cheap hobby having a trainer. Even if you just get one in the beginning to set you up a good plan and get you going, and like maybe you'll start to get into it. I did. I just fell in love with it once I got going and started to see results. And then I was a self-starter, and I didn't really need a trainer, particularly for like bodybuilding stuff. I've always coached myself with weight training. As for the old junk food, yeah, emotional eater. So you've got past traumas, I'm guessing. So, you know, deal with the trauma. Instead of stuffing those feelings down, there's a phrase, what you resist persists. So rather than hiding from those feelings, maybe go into them, preferably with the help of a counsellor or someone. In terms of like, because we can get very addicted to junk food because it's hyper palatable, it gives us that dopamine response. But if you can just eat whole foods for 3 weeks, you reset your taste buds. If you could just eat adequate food, you know, and with whole foods you can eat tons. You can eat so much more. So you fill yourself up 3 times a day. Just don't let yourself get hungry. Find some really good recipes. Like, really learn to flavour your foods with all the herbs and spices. It can be just as delicious, really. And then, if your diet's poor, that can give you like depression. Because pro-inflammatory, you're not giving like the good, like antioxidants are good against depression. But you know, if you're eating junk food, you're not eating so many fruits and veggies. So there's several ways once you start sort of getting going and just get a bit of movement. As for exercise, like if you're well unfit, just start with like 5 minutes a day. Literally, just do a walk around the block, whatever. But week by week, you know, add in a couple of minutes, or just go a little bit faster, or you know, do some weight training and just add on a tiny little bit of weight every now and then. Don't kill yourself the first couple of weeks out. Ease into it because your body needs to acclimatise. You need to condition. But just if you slowly set little manageable goals each week, you know, it's not too uncomfortable. And in a couple of months' time, you look back and think, bloody hell, I'm so much fitter. Oh, I've got some muscles sprouting, you know, and that's when you can fall in love with it. That's what's happened to me because I didn't find any of this. It didn't come easy to me one little bit. Crystal, do you know how many carbs you eat a day? I know upping it helped me. Oh, Dottie, that was 4? Yeah, high carb. High carb. I'm sure that's the best way. Corp JUK. Hey, Hench, I'm sure you get this question a lot. Is algae-based omega-3 the only way to get DHA? There's some DHA in some plants. I think it was more in plants that we don't really cultivate now, which probably stuff that we'd really call weeds. But I think some leafy greens have got some degree of DHA, haven't they? Or is it ALA? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. There's certainly not a lot anyway. So, yeah, you really do want an algae-based supplement for DHA. Aerial perspective. Can I take black cumin oil instead of powder? Got that here already. You can. I think. I don't know, actually. Gem?
Yeah.
Can you take black cumin oil, or does not have the active ingredient?
Oil, yeah.
Oh, you can. What I will say about that is, though, oils have like negatives. I mean, if you're having like a minuscule amount, it probably doesn't matter. But you'll be missing out on some nutrition. You'll be missing out on all the fibre, and you'll be missing out on a lot of micronutrients because there'll only be fat-soluble nutrients in the oil, of which there aren't many. You know, you might get a little bit of polyphenols. You might get a tiny bit of, I don't know, vitamin E or carotenoids if there's any in there, vitamin K if there's any. There won't be any vitamin D. But most of the nutrition when we make oils goes down the drain with the water that we extract from the plant. So I would preferentially go with the powder, but apparently you can use the oil for that purpose. Dr. W, hiya brother, did you watch Fury vs. Wilder 3? Yeah, I watched it just before I came on. And yeah, what an enjoyable fight that was. That was riveting. Riveting. Kyle's X123, what type of water would you recommend drinking, and what type of water do you think? I'm going to guess you meant to say, do you drink? So I drink filtered water. I have a Berkey system, and it takes out fluoride and chloride, which you know, is in tap water to kill bacteria. Unfortunately, we want bacteria in our guts, specifically the Prevotella strains. Hi, cowboy. We want them to flourish for the potential for good health. So I think it's mental in today's society when, with the advent of filters, distillers, what else can you get? Like bottled water, obviously glass rather than plastic. But there's so many ways of getting water now that don't involve having chloride in. Like, why would you? So yeah, any of those really. Any of those. Mineral water. I like a fizzy mineral water because it just makes it interesting. I put a little lime juice and some ice cubes. But yeah, anything really other than tap water for me, or bottled water in plastic's not ideal. Kane, Paul, you mentioned the body stops the production of some things temporarily when we immediately go to plant-based instead of transitioning. Yeah, so there's certain sort of meat-based nutrients like creatine, carnosine, carnitine. They're not essential nutrients, which is because we can make them, but if we've been eating those already in, you know, dead flesh and whatnot, our body may have shut down our own production of them from plant precursors like the animals. So it's not that animals like magically make those nutrients. They eat plant precursors and their bodies turn it into that nutrient. And we too are animals and our bodies do exactly the same thing. But the genes may have shut down is the point. So it can take a little while before your body to recognise. Shell, hey Paul, how necessary are protein powders when weightlifting 5 times a week? If you're eating adequate protein in your diet, totally unnecessary. Also, a massive thank you for being such an awesome human being. Well, thank you. You're lovely. Yeah, you just want to get adequate protein if you're trying to put weight on. So therefore, you're in a caloric surplus. You only need about 1.6 grams of protein per kilo of leanish body weight per day. If you're ever wanting to do a recomp where you're eating kind of around maintenance calories, trying to build muscle and burn fat, or if you're going into caloric deficit for the express purpose of dropping body fat, in order to hang on to the most muscle, your protein needs in those two instances are elevated, and you need nearer 2 grams of protein per kilo of leanish body weight per day. Whether you get that from food or whether you get that from protein powder is kind of irrelevant. The only thing I would say is that whole plant foods come with a lot more nutrients. So preferentially, from a health perspective, we'd eat more of those. But, you know, for a smaller person or for a large strength or physique athlete, or better for a smaller person trying to build muscle, or, as again, people on a diet when your protein is elevated, I find the judicious use of a little processed protein foods can be beneficial towards that goal. Is it optimal for health? No, it's not. But, you know, 1 or 2 scoops of a quality protein powder or some seitan or some, you know, TVP, tofu. I don't see that as too bad on the scale of things. Again, it's not ideal, but it's not so bad. It's not like you're eating bits of a cow's ass, for instance. So, yeah, I don't worry too much. The wood smoky, yeah, for types of water, reverse osmosis is great too. Good old lollies in the hizzy, good to see you. Some people say of like distillers and osmosis, like, oh, you're losing the minerals. But my perspective is, like, with minerals, you're talking about like trace amounts. It's so little. If you're eating a whole foods plant-based diet, the minerals in that water are irrelevant. Like, they're just... Yeah, it's a drop in the ocean, pardon the pun. Corp JUK, thank you for subscribing and welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Nully, I heard that Beyond Burgers, Impossible Burgers, and all the mock meats have over 40 chemicals in it. Is it true that with mock meats? I don't know. I mean, I would say that they're all different. 40 chemicals, I doubt it. But there's certainly a lot of additives, which a lot of them won't be great. These are not health foods. And then I don't really know the answer because I've not really looked at them because it's not something I'd put in my body just out of principle. I would say there's probably a lot more contaminants in meat-based burgers, because you're eating up the food chain there. So whatever contaminants are in plants, chemical like waste or whatever, that biomagnifies up the food chain. It doesn't just bioaccumulate, it magnifies as you go up each step. Particularly if you're eating seafood, the contamination in like a large fish's like flesh is going to be ridiculous. And then with say like cows in the meat industry, offcuts. When they slaughter the cows, like there's a lot of parts that are not sold for human consumption. They're often fed back to cows. So then you've got cannibalistic biomagnification of toxins. It's sick. It's disgusting. You just would not eat that shit. Kane, hey Paul, do you drink alcohol and what do you drink? For the longest time, no. And then in recent years, I sort of drank maybe once a year. More recently, I have had like a couple of drinks. Like this year, I've had a couple. I had a couple Gemma's birthday recently, and a couple went to like a family thing where. I didn't really know a lot of people. It sounds odd for a family thing. And it's people I don't normally mix with. And I just found to have a couple of drinks. I was just more on other people's wavelength. And I was more happy to be there and to connect. So I found it like sort of social lubrication. So I kind of use it judiciously on those occasions now. I don't worry about it. It's certainly not optimal for health, however. So wouldn't really recommend it. What do I drink? I sort of have one like beer or one like wine, and the first one will taste really good to me. Then the second one, I was things like, I don't really want this, so I don't really know what I drink. I don't know what's best really. Yeah, but certainly I look on Barnivore to make sure it's vegan. That's one thing. Alex, can mental health affect physique? Yeah, I'm sure. Like our mental state plays a lot into our physiology, so I'm sure there's a lot of ways in which that's a thing. I mean, for one thing, if you're depressed, like you might not want to get out of bed, so that's not going to do a lot of good for your physique, is it? It's so key. Like Race Lever says, mental health can affect anything. Like it's it's pretty true, really. Can't really think of anything else to say on that one. Mental health. Just if you're down on yourself, like you might not have the self-belief, like you're probably not going to push as hard, and I don't know. There's a saying, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. I wonder if that like plays into it. The reverse is also true, and training affects mental health, and as does nutrition. So yeah, keep moving, even though it can be difficult when you're not feeling like it. But keep moving, keep eating well, and that will not hurt. It's something I'll say. Richie McBride, any tips on getting dumbbells in place for bench pressing? I'm tired of nearly killing myself by swinging up 90-pound dumbbells. Thanks for great content and inspiration. Thank you. I rest the dumbbells on my knees, and then I kind of roll back and flick them up. Yeah. And thank you for your kind words. Allium. That's those are types of healthy vegetables, aren't they, with the allicin compound in them. Do you believe low fat, 10% of calories, healthy spot most can absorb optimal levels of fat-soluble vitamins? Yeah. Yeah, you don't need a whole lot. I heard that you only need about 3 grams of fats for your average meal's worth of carotenoids, vitamins, D, E, and K. Yeah, so 10% would be more than enough. Alex, apple cider vinegar? I'm not sure. Is that a question like aimed at me? Are you asking for my opinions on it? I'm unsure what to say. Apple cider vinegar. That's it's the only alkaline forming, the only alkaline vinegar. So it's a good one. If you've got it with the mother, which is like all the enzymes and stuff, if you have 1 or 2 tablespoons of that diluted in water 20 minutes before you eat, that can really help to strengthen your stomach acid if you're having issues there. There is some science to suggest that it's fat burning. However, that science was funded by a vinegar company. So, do with that what you will. It could well be complete nonsense. Well, it's 4 to 8 times more likely to be complete nonsense anyway, according to the science. Yeah, good stuff though. But get unpasteurized for the best health benefits. General Andre, how you doing? Made it late because I just gave blood. Do you believe vegan blood likely gives us superpowers? Yes, wholeheartedly. And good man. Adrian, do you know of any good CBD cream that can help with muscle pain? Thank you. So I work with a brand. They did have a topical cream, but I don't think... They have body butter, but that's not really the same thing. And they've got a new wellness brand, but I don't think that there's CBD oil in the topicals. So I'm going to say no. I don't think that CBD, like a topical application, although you'd think it would soak right in, but my understanding is that it doesn't really penetrate the skin very far, I think. Maybe I need to set up a live stream like Q&A with Honest Hemp, who I work with. You might have a look on their website, honesthemp.co.uk. There's a link below. You can get 30% off your first order with my code. I've not really looked at their topicals for a while. Let's have a quick look. Honest Hemp, I'll show you guys as well. So this is the company I work with. So I've just been using their oil, which is great. I actually ran out for the first time a little while back, and I was out for nearly 2 weeks. I was starting to get some nasty joint pains from all years of training. I didn't realise how much this was saving me. So yeah, so I like a tincture actually. I'm in 2 for 1 at the minute. Anyway, topicals. Right, so they have sent me these 3. I'll just warn you, the warming gel, that burnt like hell. I don't know if Gemma just rubbed too much in or something. I don't think this has got CBD in it. Hemp oil, omega-3, menthol. No, that's not actually got CBD. So I like the body butter, which I've used a lot, but I've not noticed it being a topical pain reliever. Ah, they have, right. Yeah. Sorry, I've had this as well. Oh, this is the old branding. Is this some old stock or what's the deal? No, this is new. Yeah, so this is good. Yeah, sorry, I've had this. It's cooling and it has got CBD. It felt like it was benefiting me. I've not used it for bloody months and months now. But I didn't know whether it was the cooling effect or the CBD that was making me feel better. But yeah, cooling CBD gel. So silky infusion of CBD. Help stimulate blood circulation. CBD gel for. Oh, so it obviously does absorb. Yeah, so that would be your one. Cooling CBD gel, 30% off, code HenchCBD30. That's your first order. Then 15% off, code HenchCBD15 for subsequent orders. I'd forgotten all about that. I thought that was like an old one that they discontinued, but it's not. No, they do about 6 topicals, don't they? Yeah, I've just not looked at them. I'm sorry. Gave you some bum advice there for a minute. Lolly, Hench, I know Gemma has issues with thyroid or just diagnosed with underactive. I'm due to start some meds. The dodgy stuff I can do. You have a video on this. Well, don't think we have a video, but Gemma recently added in black cumin seed powder, Nigella sativa, and she actually had to back off her meds quite a lot because it's so efficacious. So, yeah, give that a try. Oh, there's a nutritionfacts.org video, apparently, if you give it a search. See money. Hi, Paul. Late to join. Never you. Wow, I'm 15 minutes over. I'm doing overtime. I'm having too much fun, I think. Just started a batch of Gemma's Millionaire Shortbread from the dessert book. Ah, I love those so much. They're so delicious. I'll tell you the one other recipe that I really love. Like, I mean, they're all good, but the Millionaire Shortbread and the cherry cheesecake are to die for, if you ask me. Dottie, knew you were going to say that about finding a trainer. I think I'm getting a counsellor. Nice, and that's the highest priority for me. Yes, good for you. I don't blame you. Exercise is very important for mental health. Yeah, it so is. Exercise and whole foods, plant-based nutrition will really help as well. I'll tell you what has been good for my mental health has been, if that's what we're kind of referring to here, has been cold therapy. So cold showers or like ice baths, breath work. So like the sort of forced breaths and the retention, like Wim Hof style, meditation obviously, and just training. Yeah, training's been really good for me. Yeah, I highly recommend all of it. Oh, and the CBD oil is good for mental well-being as well. Anxiety, depression. Very good stuff. Yeah, all of the above. Dottie, thanks for great advice. I will try to eat just whole foods for 3 weeks. Nice. Get a few minutes exercise, see how it goes in West Yorkshire. Right, nice. That looks like a beautiful part of the country. Oh, good for you, Dottie. Now, keep in touch. Let us know how it goes. And good luck. Area perspective. Thanks a lot, Hench. The medicine levothyroxine will just come with a lot more negative effects than the oil, I guess. Personally, I wouldn't worry too much. It's just a mimic of a hormone that you're meant to have. As long as you've got the right amount, I wouldn't be too concerned. But yeah, if you're putting in the black cumin seed oil like that, yeah, that's like more natural basically. But yeah, anything that's better than the pill. Yeah, I wouldn't be overly worried about like a copy of hormones that are meant to be there. I would say that they're going to do more good than harm. But yeah, if you can do something natural and it naturally like sorts you out, that's got to be better, hasn't it? So yeah, I take your point. Chaotist. I'd like to ask how to avoid insulin resistance on a vegan diet. It seems to me that carbs play a huge role in this diet. How do I keep them low while getting on their surgeons? Right, so we're thinking about this all the wrong way round. This is kind of Western medicine's approach to diabetes, and we think it's a disease of carbohydrate metabolism. It's not. It's fat metabolism. So how insulin resistance works is that fats, specifically saturates, which mostly come from animal products, but they're also in some vegan like foods, such as, you know, the real naughty ones with the long and very long chain triglycerides, coconut oil, palm kernel oil, cocoa butter. These are the so-called tropical fats, and they're, you know, as bad as animal fats in some ways. Some of them are actually worse than some animal fats. And these get lodged inside of muscle cells. This is called intramyocellular lipids. So intra, inside, myo, muscle, cellular. So inside muscle cells. And you can think of it like, think of the muscle cells like they've got a keyhole. And then insulin is the key, and it's carrying the glycogen, like the blood sugar, on its back, and it's trying to deliver it to the cell. And now think of the intramyocellular lipids as gum inside of the lock, and now the key can't get in the lock. At first, like, it just makes it more difficult, so that's insulin resistance. Eventually, like, it makes it really hard. That's type 2 diabetes. So it's not that carbohydrate is the problem. We're meant to eat carbs as our species-specific fuel source. What we're not meant to do is eat loads of animal fats and coconut oil as well. There's no coconut oil in nature. And so the thing to do is take those out, and you reverse the intramyocellular lipids, and then the insulin can do its job, get in the lock, and transport the blood sugar out of the blood into the target tissue. So, and I've seen it. I've seen it in my own clients, and the medical system refuses to believe that that's a thing. So I had one client who was a taxi driver. He was on insulin. He got so well, he just ate properly and exercised, that he didn't need his medication anymore. By law, he had to keep getting his medication, pretending he was taking it. He said if not, he would have had his driving license taken off of him. So it's not the carbs that are the problem, it's the fat. Take the fat out, and then you start to be able to get the glycogen from the bloodstream into the muscles. But on a vegan diet, you don't have to eat high carb. You know, you could eat nuts, avocado, you could drink oil, you could just eat peanut butter. You don't have to have a high carb diet. However, a high carb diet is the healthiest diet. If we look at the data, the longest lived people on record, Okinawa into the 1940s, they ate 85% of their diet as carbohydrate. Ain't none of them had diabetes. None of them. You don't have diabetes with fats that low. If we look at the Broad study out of New Zealand at the end of 2016, the participants in that ate as much whole foods, plant-based nutrition as they wanted, very high carb. And on average, they lost a pound of body fat per week, and their blood pressure, cholesterol, their triglycerides, all their blood markers basically came down into the safe, healthy range without trying. We've eaten ad libitum. We've eaten as much as they wanted. So I believe our species-specific fuel source is carbohydrate, specifically from whole plant foods, not refined sugar, but fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains. Real food as it comes from nature. Kane, will you be trying the McPlant burger? No, probably really unhealthy, I should think. Yuck. Or is it like a Beyond Burger or whatever, I think? But great that they've got it. Hopefully a load of people who would have been eating a bit of a cow's ass will give that a try. Yeah, Andre brings up a good point. Walter Kempner cured diabetes in most of his patients. Yeah, and it was white rice, fruit juice. Yeah, and white sugar, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be eating those things. I wouldn't be eating certainly fruit juice and sugar, refined sugar. I wouldn't be eating that on the grounds that it raises your risk for Alzheimer's disease. But yeah, it's not, diabetes is not a disease of sugar metabolism is fat metabolism, and it's fat basically getting in the way. You can think of it as your body is like a sort of watering can. You got the sprinkler head, you get some lard and fill up the sprinkler head, and then it's like you're putting water in there, and then the water's not coming out, and you say, oh, you shouldn't put water in a watering can, like you shouldn't put carbohydrates in a human body. No, the water is not the problem, the carbs are not the problem, the fat that's in the way of the motion of those things is what is causing the problem. So that's their high blood sugar is the symptom, and the disease is fat stuck inside your muscle cells. Entropy Theory 88 in the hizzy. Good to see you. Thanks, Rebel Vegan. Fabrizio, is there a study comparing the health of dates versus sugar? For instance, 1 spoon of sugar versus 1 date. Probably. It's just such a sort of known thing that I couldn't be able to tell you like a specific study. Kane, Paul, do you remember a few weeks ago I had a concussion and a cold? I looked up on PubMed after it started head trauma. Oh, stated head trauma can drop immune system. Interesting. I'd never heard that before. That's very interesting. How are you feeling now? I hope you're feeling... Oh, well, that was a few weeks ago, so I'm taking it you're feeling a lot better. I had concussion once. That was really giving me issues for quite a while. Race lever. Gemma probably just rubbed too hard. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Crystal carbs just expose diabetes. Exactly. You're welcome, Lolly. Kane just looks at honest temp. What strength to use? I use the strongest one simply because then I don't have to use so much oil. I mean, it's a minuscule amount anyway. It's nothing to worry about. I get the hemp oil as well rather than the MCT, but it's like micrograms basically. But I get the strongest one so I don't have to use so much, and I do the maximum dose recommended, which is 21 drops of the 30% one. It's about twice as much as they really recommend on the dosing guide, but I think, well, I get it for free and there shouldn't be any risk at doing such a high dose, so why wouldn't I? I just love the stuff so much, in all honesty. But yeah, you don't need to use half as much as I do. You're welcome, Aerial Perspective, and thank you. Gelderman, do you ever eat bread? Yes, I wondered that after watching your video recently. Yeah, I know. I just eat like a Tesco extra special or whatever, farmhouse. You know, it's got a little oil in there, which isn't ideal. Yeah, so I mean, it's not optimal, but I just find for me, I have to eat so many calories that I find it easier to include a little bread and a couple of scoops of protein powder. So yeah, I'm not entirely whole foods. Yeah, if I wasn't having to bodybuild, I wouldn't be eating it, but I just find it useful. I feel your pain, Stacey Langley. I feel your pain. People just don't know how powerful nutrition is. They really don't. They're so used to feeling shit, they just don't know any better. Julian Walters, my IRL friend. How are you doing? I'm a machine. What are you up to, you little tinker? Chaotist, thank you for the answer. I'd love to learn more on the topic of fat and carb absorption. Seems to be a hot topic these days. Many people are having great success on the keto diet. Oh, what, in terms of diabetes? So the reason that they're having great success is they're not introducing a glycogen load to the body, so they don't realise they've still got it, basically. If they say they're healed or healing or healed, tell them, oh, put a load of carbs in then. If you're healed, you shouldn't have a problem. And their blood sugar will go through the roof, and you can call them a moron. And you can tell them that they've raised their risk for Alzheimer's disease, stroke, cardiovascular disease, heart attack, colorectal cancers in the process. If you want to learn more, I would really recommend the book, The Program for Reversing Diabetes by Dr. Neil Barnard. That's the real treatise on the subject. Cheers, Lolly. You too. Aerial perspective. Last question about that. I forgot. Does black cumin replace the iodine, or do I need to still take that too? No, it doesn't replace iodine. I don't know the mechanism. I don't know what the mechanism is, but it's not that it's got iodine in there.
Makes your TSH
raises it.
Raises it. Yeah.
Right. Somehow it raises your thyroid stimulating hormone to tell your thyroid to produce more thyroid hormone. So if you've got inadequate iodine, then it won't be able to do so. So yeah, you do need to. Dan, I've been working out for a bit now. I'm getting stronger and fitter, but my arms are the same size. Help. Are you like measuring them, or do you just think they don't look any bigger? Because my arms got up to 18.5 inches and I didn't think they were any bigger, but they bloody were. It's when you do bodybuilding, you will suffer from I think the phrase is bigorexia. Well, it's body dysmorphia, but some people, I think it's more of a sort of a street name is bigorexia. You basically never see how big you are. And yeah, stronger and fitter. So being fitter won't make you any bigger. And in fact, if you're doing too much cardio, that may interfere with your muscle growth. Or you should do a bit of both. But you may need to up your calories. So if you want them to really grow, no, they're still twigs. Yeah, but measure your twigs to see if they take a while to grow, but do measure your twigs so you've got an objective, you're not just thinking it. But yeah, you may be right. If they're actually not getting anywhere, I would say just bung some more calories in so your body weight is going up. Make sure you eat adequate protein, 1.6 grams of protein per kilo of leanish body weight per day. And yeah, you say your strength's going up, so that's good. I would say like any rep scheme can build muscle, but I would really say optimally about a 6 to 12 rep range. So you're getting towards failure on the last rep, adequate volume, and you'll get there. We all have body parts that suffer. My upper arms really were the thing that I suffer or still struggle with the most. And that's just down to genetics, and we just picked the wrong mum and dad. Oh, thank you, Sean TK. You're very kind. Thanks, aerial perspective. Dan, what if you're growing? I'm 18. Well, you do definitely need to be going up in weight then, don't you? If you're growing. So, yeah, just eat a bit more calories than you're burning. Once a week, say on a Monday morning, after you've been to the loo, in the first thing in the morning, after you've been to the loo, before you eat or drink anything, take your body weight then. That's known as your true weight, because through the day, your weight will go up as you're eating more, as you're drinking fluids. And then by the next morning, go to the loo, you sort of just weigh in, a lot less like fiber and stomach contents and like water. Do that once a week and make sure that your weight is going up a little bit. And if it stalls, add in a few more calories. Just eat adequate protein. As I say, 1.6 grams of protein per kilo of leanish body weight per day will be adequate. And yeah, just keep lifting. Don't lift too often. Say you did biceps every day, well, they get smaller because you'd be overtraining them. Once or twice a week, divide your sort of volume up between. So if you're training once a week, you can do really high volume. If you're training twice per week, you want to split that volume between the two sessions. Have a good gap in between, like 2 or 3 days. And Kane is 1.6 grams per leanish body weight optimal. Yeah, I feel like I put on a fair bit of muscle years ago without eating that much. As aim for a gram. You may not need 1.6, but according to the science, for some people, like that may be more optimal in terms of the most muscle you can grow. But some people might not need as much as that. You're welcome, Dan. Gail Dorman. Thanks for the answer. You're welcome. What do you think is the best breakfast to set you up for the day? I eat too much toast. I like either a smoothie, which is hydrating, or particularly if I'm bulking, because it's easier to drink than to eat your calories. Or if I'm cutting, I may do it as porridge. But it's the same things, and it's some oats. I think you want plenty of fruit in there for some fast energy. So I typically use dates and berries. Little protein, so either some white beans or something. If you're doing any sort of strength training, you may benefit from a little protein powder. Flax and chia seeds for the omega-3s. I actually put a little seaweed in there. You can't taste it, but that's your iodine, so that will help. You know, you're going to feel low energy if your thyroid is in poor order. Yeah. So it's just the same old things as I have at every meal. It's fruit, maybe vegetables. Maybe you put some greens in there because they're quite alkalized and that's quite energizing. Some sort of protein, so maybe a little legume, maybe a little scrambled tofu or something on the side if you want. And a grain, so you've got a bit of sustained energy. So toast actually isn't so bad if it's whole grain and it's not got a load of additives. Certainly avoid palm oil because that's horrible for you. Not too high in fat because that slows digestion down. So that may help. Well, I've been going for half an hour longer than I meant to. So I should probably sign off now and go and do some other stuff, but thanks for hanging out, guys. I've had a lovely time. If you want to optimize your vegan nutrition, do download our free e-guide. It's a complete overview. So a lot of the stuff we've talked about tonight: muscle building, fat loss, supplements, how to get all your nutrients, so you don't become one of those pesky ex-vegans. Semma's asking how many calories for a specific reason there. Thank you for your tips. You're welcome. Again, download that and it tells you in there exactly how to calculate your specific needs. You need to use total daily energy expenditure calculator, but that's all in there for free. It'll explain it all in detail. I really need to sign off. Our new cookbook, Speedy Vegan, is out now. To pre-order for 10% off. There she is. Isn't she beautiful? So it's a lot of delicious recipes, 15 minutes or less prep work, and you have like up to 5 days worth of foods, because a lot of people say, one of their biggest problems with healthy eating, I haven't got time. Well, you have got time, you just haven't got the knowledge. So now you can have the knowledge. So that's available to pre-order, 10% off. Our first 2 cookbooks are 30% off at the minute. And our online course is at a low introductory price. And that's amazeballs. 14 videos, all our cookbooks are in there, or they will be in there once the third one's out. You'll get that after the fact. And then there's loads of PDFs, downloadable, printable, including a nutrition chart for all ages and stages of life, so you can be sure that your whole family is thriving as a vegan and they don't become any of those pesky ex-vegans that we all know and hate. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. What day is it? Monday? I'll try and come on Wednesday. I may come on in the morning about 7 or 8 a.m. GMT. Are we BST or GMT now? Whichever, this is the British time at the minute. And then, or if not, I'll come on in the evening about 7. But follow me on the gram if you want, hench_herbivore, because I'll announce on there when I'm coming on. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks moderators for keeping us troll-free. Thanks for the super chats, keeping the beans on my toast, the walls from the doors and the cameras rolling. And I'll see you next time. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys. Bye for now.